Women's Wellness Authority is your go-to podcast for discovering the hidden gems of holistic health and well-being. In each episode, we dive deep into the many layers of wellness, from mental and physical health to spiritual growth. Through insightful interviews with experts, healers, and thought leaders, we uncover alternative approaches, healing practices, and fresh perspectives that empower you to transform your life. Whether you're seeking innovative ways to heal your body, your mind, or nourish your soul, this podcast offers practical tools and wisdom to help you thrive in all areas of your life. Let's rewrite the rules of wellness together. Step into your power, reclaim your health, and discover what it means to truly thrive from the inside out. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Women's Wellness Authority. Today's guest is someone I'm honored to know personally and professionally, Mila Brady, a maternal wellness advocate, mom of two, the founder of Nest and Nurture Holistic Support. Now, Nest and Nurture is a community-driven space created to support women through pregnancy, postpartum, and early years of motherhood. As a mom herself, Mila understands just how isolating and overwhelming those early stages can be. Her mission is rooted in both personal experience and professional training, and it shows in everything that she does. With a background in nutrition, over 6 years of childcare experience, a hands-on internship at a maternity hospital, and even time as a fitness instructor, Mila brings a well-rounded, deeply compassionate perspective to the motherhood journey. Through Nest and Nurture, she offers more than support services. She's offering connection, education, and the reminder that no mother should have to do it alone. And for me, this is just personal. Mila was one of the incredible women who cared for my first daughter during her early years as a teacher at her daycare. Her calm and nurturing presence really gave me peace as a first-time mom. And when I learned about her work with Nest and Nurture, it felt like the most natural extension of who she is. So this episode is for all the expecting and new moms out there. Now, I'm not just talking about first-time moms, but anyone who has recently had a baby and is finding themselves trying to hold it all together. Today, we're going to be talking about you and your healing, your rest, and your support system. Because planning for yourself is just as important as the birth plan or the nursery, and we're going to talk about that. And that kind of planning is an act of empowerment. So, Mila, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited for today's conversation.
So let's just start off with talking about your mission, your passion to support other mothers.
Yes. So in my early childhood, every time someone would ask me, what do you want to be when you grow up? I would say, I want to be a mom. And then I would say something else. Always, like, every year would change, but being a mom was always my first answer. After I became a mom and I saw the gaps in community supports, group supports, it's actually in place. But in both states that I lived, I'm going to talk about that. That move was like big for me. But a group support system that can support the moms, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, socially. There's a lot of individual resources and professionals. They're amazing. But being the social butterfly I am, and you probably know that, I missed the connection and the community aspect of it. I really felt lonely. Even though I always had lots of friends, I was surrounded by friends, people that I met, but having someone that is going through the same thing as you, I didn't have that. So that made me realize that it would be great to start that community and get moms together so they can support each other and build their village.
So maybe can you share a little bit about your experience as a first-time mom and what that felt like for you?
Yes. So I did have somewhat a community when I did prenatal yoga classes during my first pregnancy, but it was 2020 and I was 36 weeks pregnant when the world shut down.
Okay.
So I gave birth during the pandemic. I was postpartum during the pandemic. Those first months were so hard. And I felt like that was it. Like, the postpartum was like so lonely, and I was able to talk to people over the phone, but I didn't have that connection. I couldn't go to like mommy and me classes or like see other families, see other moms. It was very like scary to be like by myself. I had my mom with me, thank God, and my husband supporting me, but not having other moms to lean on, that was very surprising because though I was not expecting that. I had so many plans.
Yeah. I know for all the moms who gave birth during COVID, I can only imagine. Because when I had my first, although I had access to all the things you just said, I could interact with people in person. I was like silently struggling,
Mhm.
and didn't know, and I did like the mommy and me classes and all of that, and it was helpful. But I still struggled. So I can't even imagine what that would have been like, during COVID when you don't even have that option.
Yeah, it added another layer to it. And I was struggling too, like, and I was holding all together because we have um that stigma that moms have to smile and be grateful and be happy that the baby's healthy and like forget about themselves, give their life direct, like just pour themselves into the
And
baby.
it's something you wanted your whole entire life, right? So
Yes,
why
exactly.
should you be? You can't get
Yes.
sad.
I keep complaining. I keep
Yeah.
complaining. I have to be happy and grateful. My baby's healthy. I am healthy. Oh, and by the way, during my first 10 days at home, I also had an extra layer. I had what it's called epidural migraine, and it was like very painful to be standing up. So I had to be laying down. It was the universe. I tell people that it was the universe telling me that I had to slow down and take care of myself.
Yeah.
So those first 10 days postpartum, I had to be cared for. I had to be laying down. My mom and my husband had to bring food to me. I was just so like upset that I planned this postpartum to be like, I'm gonna do everything. I'm the mom. I'm gonna be, and those things like the universe was like, slow down. You're gonna lay down for 10 days. So I was forced to be like really resting. So it was tough to be vulnerable and having to be cared for. But
Yeah.
now that I think about it, it was so needed. I really needed that. I think it had like it was like a switch in my brain, that a light switch. Hey, I can be cared for. I don't have to take care of everything.
Yeah.
So it was a negative experience, but turned out like the outcome was good because I really needed that rest and that care.
And then because of your experience, you're now going to be able to provide all this support for women, which I think is pretty amazing. And when we were talking to prepare for this conversation, you had said something to me that kind of really stood out, which is, and I mentioned this in my introduction.
Mhm.
Everybody spends so much time planning and prepping for baby,
Yes.
planning and prepping the nursery and planning and prepping like what is that experience going to be like in the hospital, and
Mhm.
what is it going to be like to bring them home. But there's never, as far as I know, a majority of people don't actually plan for how am I going to care for myself. And so with the women that you work with, do you see that often?
Yes, there's a lot of childbirth classes, childbirth education. How is my nursery going to look like? Pinterest boards and so hypnobirthing classes, which are all amazing. That's like you should be planning for that because it is a transition, a big transition. But baby shower, gender reveal, all those things are great to have, but we rarely stop and ask, how will I be cared for? How is it going to look like after the birth? Because postpartum, the birth is not a finish line. It's actually the beginning.
Mm.
So,
That's
um,
beautiful, actually. That is
yeah,
so true. It is so
yeah.
true. Because
So that's
I
why.
I remember feeling like that, actually. I remember feeling like, okay, the birth, she's here now, but
I did
nobody
it.
told me what that experience was going to be like. And everybody just cares about the baby. What about me? I am like in a lot of pain. I just want to
Everything
cry
is
about everything.
expected. Yeah, yeah. So, planning for your support, postpartum support, and how postpartum is gonna go. It's not that you're gonna plan it and it's gonna go exactly how you're planning, but planning about how you're gonna rest, who is gonna support you emotionally, your food, your circle, who to lean on during that time, who to reach out to is the most loving thing that you can do for yourself and for the baby. Because if you have a mom that is well cared for, you're going to have a baby that is thriving.
Yeah, for sure. I wanted to just share with the listeners some stats you had posted on your Instagram account, because I think it's a reminder to all women. You've just created a human. And there's so much pressure, I feel like, an expectation around you have a baby, you recover quick, you bounce back, you jump into your life a couple weeks after the baby is born. And so these things you shared really stood out to me. It takes 6 months for your body to heal inside. It takes over 12 months to recover physically. It takes about 2 years for your hormones to settle, and up to 5 years to feel like yourself again. So I don't share that last one. That last one to me is a little scary, right? But when you think about the time in your life where you're going to have kids, and whether it's one or multiple, those time frames are overlapping.
Yes.
I know, it overlapped for me. It overlapped for you.
Yeah.
And so just think about if that medically, like those things for your mind and your body are not fully recovered in those time frames, and then you're compounding another pregnancy, you got a plan.
Yes. Yeah. So these are like research results, right? So
Yeah.
if you think, and it may shift depending on the mom, we're individuals. So each mom is different, but it is scary when you think up to 5 years to feel like yourself again. And then you have a child, like, let's say, like when you have a toddler, you have another baby. And then when you have a preschooler, you have a third baby. Does this add up? Is it 15 years for me to feel like myself?
Yeah.
How is that? So this could change. It is up to 5 years, but it depends on also like how you have your support system, how your mental health is, so many factors. But it's just so it can give us an overview that we don't talk about it enough. Like we have that pressure, like you have to bounce back, body, like physically speaking and mentally speaking, and career wise, like you have to get back to work in 12 weeks or under. I feel like it's a misconception that a lot of people have, that moms don't need help and they had to bounce back right away, physically, mentally, socially. There's a lot of pressure there, but we have to give ourselves grace because we are healing, like internally, mentally, physically, and also socially as our identity shifts. Because we're going to change the way that we see ourselves. We are becoming a new person. So you got to give yourself time and don't fall for the pressure.
What would you say some of the biggest misconceptions or blind spots are for new moms sort of around this?
Yeah. So the bounce back pressure, like trying to be back, doing everything within like after 6 weeks, because you have that clearance doesn't mean that you are good to go. You're an individual. You're going to have to take some time to recover. And I think a big one is if the baby is okay, baby's healthy, mom is healthy, mom is good. So that is a big one. Baby can be 150% and no health issues, happy, not colicky. And then the mom like sleeping through the night. That's a big one. Oh, if the baby sleeps through the night, the mom can't complain. Like you have to be well. You have to be raving about how you're feeling. So I think that's the big misconception, that we are superheroes, that we can hold it all together and we don't need to share what we're feeling.
What would you say is your biggest piece of advice for new moms? So when you are putting together these groups, what kind of concerns are you hearing from them, and what kind of advice do you give? So for all the new moms or expecting moms that are listening, what would you share with them?
The main thing is, why do I have to think about all that? So when then I start talking about it and they're like, oh my gosh, I haven't even thought about that. That's going to help a lot. So just planning for your emotional support, for how you're going to nourish yourself during postpartum. How are you going to ask for help? What are the key symptoms for postpartum depression? What is the difference between baby blues and postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety? The rage that we have, that I was not aware of that. No doctor had talked to me about the postpartum rage, and you don't feel like yourself.
About that a little bit.
Yeah. So any minimal thing in my daily life would get me so upset. And like, I would transform myself. Like I would become someone that I didn't even recognize. Like my dog barking would like really trigger me, or the baby crying for over like 5 minutes. I had such easy triggers that would turn myself into a different person. And I would snap at my husband, snap at my mom, snap at the baby, like, why are you screaming?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, whoa, wait a second. You know that meme that like, but this is not fair.
Yeah, yeah.
Wait, I'm an adult. I can put myself together. Like that's how I felt. Like I would be snap out of myself and then be like, oh my gosh, and then feel guilty and then cry and then why did I scream at my son? Like why was I mad at like because my husband didn't fill my water bottle. I didn't even ask him for that. So those things were like, I'm not feeling like myself. And then I was the one bringing that to my provider, to my therapist. And then they were like, if you're feeling like that, these are ways to cope. So that's why during the support groups, I also mentioned if you have an instinct that something is wrong, even for a minute of your day, talk to someone, look for a provider, and at least talk to a friend, to your husband, to more than one person. Don't wait for them to validate what you're feeling. That's what I always mention to them, but talk to someone and verbalize what you're thinking, what you're feeling. Sometimes even verbalizing it, you're going to realize what's going on and you can seek help.
I'll say, me personally, just this is all bringing me back. I don't even know when I was in it. I was part of a new moms group, and all of us, it was our first time babies. And I was nervous and scared to say, I'm struggling. I don't know if it was because of judgment or because I shouldn't be, or have a long maternity leave. So like, why am I having such a hard time? I mean, I had the thing you're describing about the rage. I don't know if I had rage as much as I couldn't even like function. I couldn't pack a diaper bag without crying in certain instances. And I remember thinking to myself, this isn't right, but I never sought help. So would your advice to a new mom who's maybe feeling these things to say it's okay to feel these things and you should verbalize them to a friend, or seek a
Professional
therapist
help. Yeah.
during that time. I filled out the surveys, but I wasn't even honest with myself. Because I thought, if I fill this out, are they really going to like help me with anything? Which is
Or are they going to judge me? I think that's the main thing.
that, yes, that's
And back to that pressure of you have to be like your baby's healthy. You are not supposed to be complaining. It's a judgment, fear of judgment, because especially with social media right now, all the perfect lives and all the moms are happy. Postpartum is just so easy, but people only post what they want other
they're
people
not posting themselves crying, packing the diaper bag, or
Yeah. Yeah. So it's
filling out that survey and like lying because they don't want to be judged,
yeah. Yeah. And I feel like we're just so automatic like that. I feel that. So every time I went to the pediatrician, I filled that out, and my 6-week appointment, which is another topic. We see the doctor so much during pregnancy, and then we see them like once,
Yeah.
and that's it. This is then we go the whole for everything. So I fill out, at least my pediatrician did. So multiple times I did. And then towards the third visit at their office, I'll be like, I'm just doing automatically because the baby's crying. And I'm like, I don't have time for this. I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine. Just literally checking off the list. Let me worry. I have other stuff to worry about. I can't think about myself right now. I have to think about the baby. I have to think about my older daughter. There's a lot going on at the house, my work, everything. I don't have time to take care of myself. And then I was like, wait a second. I'm going to talk to my therapist because something is wrong. So the moment that you realize that you should trust your mom instinct and your gut, you go and talk to someone, and then you're like, oh my gosh. And then you feel so much lighter. I felt so much lighter when I talked to my therapist, and even talking to a friend that are going through the same. And that's what I feel being in a group setting helps a lot, because it's one of the things that I always remind everyone before the workshops or circles, support groups, is that it's confidential. Everything here, what happens here stays here. You are here not to fix what your peers feeling. You're here to listen and give advice if you want to, or if you don't want advice given to you, if you're just venting, communicate that to the group before starting to vent. Hey guys, I don't want it fixed. I want it listen to me. Yeah, I just want to be heard. I just want to feel seen. And when one of them opens up, and then the other ones are like, oh, gosh, same. This happens to me too. And then it opens their eyes to, they thought they were wrong, or they were broken, or they're making a mistake, or it's just like a voice in my mind. I'm just gonna, put it under, like, sweep under the rug. They're like, wait a second. If she recognizes it, this is happening to me too. And I'm gonna seek help. And even if they don't talk during the circle, during the support group session, they will talk to me later, or text me, or talk to their therapist, and then tell me they talk to their therapist. So it's really important to listen to the others, and also be open to talk what you're feeling.
Yeah. I think that's a big one is it's okay to be vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
And in that vulnerability, you'll actually get the support you need and the growth that you need as this new role. It does totally change, right? Your life, because you're now someone's mother, and you have to deal with that now different identity on top of all the physical and emotional things. So we talked about, for planning, we talked about emotional support. With social media, it's got to be way easier that no matter where you live, for those who are listening, you can find those groups. If those groups aren't coming naturally from your gynecologist, you could reach out to a therapist and see if they've got new mom groups. You could just find, no matter where I've lived, there's mom groups, moms of whatever county. Find those things, join those things, post in there and say, I'm a new mom, would love to like do a stroller walk every Tuesday. Those are the type of things I think you have to put yourself out there a little bit, but those things can go a really, really long way.
Long way. Gotta go say yes to that coffee. Talk to moms at the grocery store if they have a baby or they're pregnant. Hi, how far along are you? Reach out. Try a little harder to be more social, because then you start building that community. I did have prenatal yoga, like I said, in Connecticut when I lived during my first pregnancy. But then my second pregnancy, when I moved to Florida, there was no prenatal yoga groups or any pregnancy groups. There was one at the hospital that I gave birth at, but I ended up not joining because it was not a good time with work. But I missed it. I was like, oh, it's my second postpartum. I'm going to rock it. Was I wrong? It's just different. Like, even though it's the second, third, fourth postpartum period, it's different. You feel different. You're a different person.
Yeah. Different age.
Yeah. Yeah. So
different feeling in your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have a younger child now, and this baby, and yourself. So you always become the least.
Yeah. Like the important thing, right? So you always like put yourself last, because then there's other things. But it's very important for you to prioritize yourself, because if you don't fill your own cup so you can fill others, how are you going to do it? You can't pour from an empty cup. So put yourself first. It's not being selfish.
Yeah, it's not. That was the difference between my first pregnancy and my second. It's because I suffered so much. I was like, I will do anything. I'm going to do everything different. And I think my biggest part, which is another part of the planning we talked about, was nutrition and what I was putting in my body and the supplements I was taking, which, after I had the baby, but I was breastfeeding. So you have to be careful about what you take. But I feel like the nutrition made a big difference in how I was feeling, because, after giving birth, after like growing a human, right, your body's depleted of so many things.
Yes. Yeah. So we don't think enough about nutrition. I feel like we worry about it a lot during pregnancy. I had gestational diabetes, so I was very worried on my second pregnancy. I was worried about how I would eat, protein first and then the carbs. So I was very conscious about it. And then after I gave birth, I was breastfeeding, and then I'm going to eat better because I'm breastfeeding. So we're never thinking about ourselves. It's like actually But then if someone decides or chooses to formula feed, they're probably like, I'm not breastfeeding, so I'm going to go ahead and eat whatever I want. I'm not going to take care of myself. And I even feel like when we're breastfeeding, we're also like, I'm going to stop taking the prenatal vitamins and supplements and everything because I'm going to be fine. And completely opposite. Your body's healing. It's still working probably as much as when you're creating a human. So it's healing from the inside out, and the food will help with that healing. Food, supplementation. So everything that you put into your body, it's going to help with the healing or not, depending on what it is.
Yeah, no, I did supplements that just had basic like vitamins and minerals. And we talked about in episode 2, I had a guest who talked about minerals and just had
I
said,
love that.
you know, a woman's body gets so depleted because everything that you ingest is going to your baby, and then post you're already, so you're maybe at a 5, and then you're now, if you're breastfeeding, then you're now at like a -5. And then let's think about having a second kid. You're already depleted walking into that pregnancy. So that made a huge difference for my mental health, for sure. It was just incorporating some of those things. I can't even say that I was like overly conscious about what I was eating, but I was making sure, at least from a supplemental standpoint, it was safe. And also I was like supporting some basic things I needed. And then I'm a huge essential oil person. I use essential oils to support my hormones and my emotions, and that was huge for me. I'll put a recommendation of the products that I use, but that
Mm-hmm.
for me was such a big thing. In terms of food, you brought up a really important thing, practical help as being another thing for planning. So can you talk a little bit about what that means?
So during the circles, there's also the topic of we are planning for a smoother postpartum period. What can we do to prep our house and ourselves and our village, our partners and support system to have a smoother postpartum? And one of them is meal prepping. So just making sure that you are freezing some food, at least for the first 10 days, so you can focus on the baby and on yourself. You're not getting worried about having to cook or having your partner cook or hiring someone. If you have the means, go for it. Hire someone to have fresh food. But if you don't, having that planning ahead of time is so important. And my idea for the support circles is having, I don't know if you've seen, it's a trend, but on social media, but I just loved it. And I wish I had that idea when I was pregnant, the nesting showers instead of the baby showers, like a nesting moment with your family, with your friends. And instead of like showering you with gifts, they come and help you prepare the house. So they meal prep, the clean the baseboards, the clean, like get the house ready for the baby to arrive, build any things that they need, like the crib. And so preparing the house with your support system, I think it's amazing. And I want to do something like that with the groups. And it's so helpful because if you have 10 days worth of food, at least the main meal prepared, you only need to grocery shop or prepare something that is a salad or something like a side. But if you have a main meal frozen for at least one meal a day, that helps a lot. And make sure that you have snacks because you're going to be extremely hungry. Your body again is healing and you need those calories, especially if you're breastfeeding, having those calories ready to go, plus that main meal. Make sure that you have a lot of iron and protein rich foods, snacks and main meals because they help you with the healing. Yeah. So
What foods help with the healing?
iron because you lose a lot of blood when you give birth, and then the iron helps with the healing. Protein also helps, and warm food and some spices too. Some spices people think I'm not gonna get any spicy food, but not meaning this being spicy hot, but the spices that like cinnamon will help, warm soups, stews, things like that. And bringing, like, it just reminded me that when you mentioned about the essential oils, fun fact is that I started essential oils when I met you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So today I still use for my kids, for myself. And you introduced me to the essential oils. So thank you for
You
that.
saved me. So I'm like, I couldn't share them with everybody, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
But I love that idea of whether it's family or even friends, because I think what that speaks volumes of is I've got this village and support behind me. And then when you're in it and that baby's crying, you can just heat something up real quick and you have a good, nutritious meal. And you can feel that love that was created before that baby was even there for you. So I love, love, love that idea.
yeah. So there's a lot of meal trains too. If you live far from your family and you don't know many people and you're not able to do that meal prep with friends, try to do it with your partner or set up a meal train so people can send you food and then you can make a list of the restaurants that you prefer getting food from and they can send from that restaurant, or if they live close by, they will drop it off. So I think the nutrition part of it is so important and we have to plan for it. So to make things a little easier.
Now, I have a kind of a silly question, but with all of this support that we're talking about, does your advice shift at all when a woman's having a second baby or a third baby or?
Um, no, I think that the logistics change, but you still need the support because if you think about it, you are parenting either a toddler or an older child, and you are taking care of a baby. So you still need the support. The logistics would be different. Like maybe if someone during your first postpartum helped with just going to your house to hold the baby so you could shower, you can have that person pick up the toddler and bring them to a playground while had some downtime. So the logistics will change, but I feel like having the support is still so much needed.
I almost think, I don't want to say it's more important, but you now have additional, it's not just you and your husband and the baby, you have other things. So it's almost even more important to think about how am I going to be able to carve out that time? And even more important to say, to realize it's okay to ask for that extra help.
Yes.
Take somebody up on holding your baby or taking your kids out to dinner or taking them to the park or whatever. I think even almost more important because you have all those added responsibilities.
Yes. And maybe make a list of things that and talk to your partner. That's the main thing. Communicating with the partner. What am I comfortable with someone else helping? What is a non-negotiable for me? I need to be the one doing it. What is an okay thing for you to do? What is an okay thing for our neighbor to do? So having a list, literally write down things like tasks that you don't think, like emptying the diaper pail. It doesn't have to be the mom doing it. If make sure that you communicate with your partner, can you please do it? So can you please be the you're it, like tag that person.
Yeah.
You're it for that specific task. And doing this before the baby's here, it's so much easier because you don't have that brain fog. You're not this sleep deprived. So having a quick list. So like that's a great tool too that we during the circles we write down those like what are non-negotiables for your household and what are things that you're okay leaving it behind and not doing it. What are you okay having someone else do it?
That's so smart. Also, too, I say this with a giggle, but like, what are you comfortable with my mother helping with or your mother helping with, right? Maybe some people don't want their mother-in-law folding their underwear, you know? So
exactly.
maybe laundry's off, you know, but they can certainly do X, Y, or Z. So
yeah. And there's a funny story that someone shared that they need to get hemorrhoid cream at the pharmacy. And then someone asked, do you need help with anything? And then they thought, I'm not gonna ask that person because I'm not that close to that person to go to the pharmacy and pick it up for me. And that person may not be like, even if they're closed, you're not like these are like it's an off limit conversation.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah. But then you have your mom that you're like, Mom, can you go that do you need help? Yeah, Mom, can you go to the pharmacy? I need for you to get my hemorrhoid cream. It also depends on who is offering help and what are you okay giving away a task to someone, to each person. So
but I think that's such a good idea to do before, not while you're in it and like emotional and like just let my mom fold your underwear, right?
Yeah. Yes. And then you're fighting with your husband, but you asked for help. Why are you not letting my mom help? And
I don't want your mom getting my hemorrhoid cream.
Yeah. And you have that list and you can add it, and it's way easier to add or remove or change
Yeah.
the person that you would ask for something when you have the baby than creating a whole new thing. So it's also part of planning and making things a little smoother, communicating with the partner, having lists of things. I'm a big checklist person, but it's not about checking off the list, make sure everything's done. It's having a toolbox
Mhm.
of things that you can use or you cannot use, but they're there for you to use the tool that you need at that time. So preparing that toolbox for your postpartum. The same way that childbirth education or like birth doulas, which are amazing human beings, they give you that toolbox of things for you to use during your birth. You should have a toolbox for your postpartum too.
God, it's so smart. It's so smart. What about for listeners who have had a baby? Say their baby's 8, 9 months old, and so they're in it, right? Or their baby is maybe a toddler. Is it too late to put a plan in place? If they are struggling and they're feeling overwhelmed, or why is my body still feeling this way? Or why do I feel this way? Like, why? Sometimes a lot of times the dynamic between them and their partner is also awry. What kind of advice would you have for them?
That it's never too late to make yourself priority. And that's what you should do no matter which stage of motherhood you're in. If your baby is 6 weeks, 3 weeks, or 3 years old, so this your baby. Oh my gosh, I'm not unwell about my kids growing up. If you're still feeling that you're not like yourself, that you deserve care, start at least one thing a day or one thing a week. Don't set goals. Also, don't set goals that are not realistic for your lifestyle and for your routine. But start with one thing, either one thing a day, one thing a week, a 10-minute reset each day, listening to something that brings you joy, a check in with a friend, like a long conversation, even if you're driving to the grocery store and your partner has the kid or the kids, talking to a friend, venting and gossiping, like what makes you feel complete. And asking for help is also on that list. Make yourself a person that can be helped. Open up and ask for help and delegate things. And no matter which stage of motherhood you're at, I think that's a great advice because you as a mom and you as a person, you still matter.
Yes, so much so. Yeah. I will say to just like speak on behalf of some women I've spoken to who are at-home moms, and they feel like, well, my job is to do all these things and take care of all the kids, but they're still struggling. So I think it's really important, regardless of your role in the household, whether you're a full-time stay-at-home mom, whether you're working, you can ask for help
Yes. Yeah.
in any instance.
In any instance, and you shouldn't have to just handle everything. I've got it. You don't have to. You deserve more than that. Like, even if you're stay-at-home mom, if you need a break and time for yourself, you should have, because being a stay-at-home mom is a lot harder than being a working mom sometimes in some instances. And you can't be like, I'm fine, I can't complain. Then again, going back to that, I can't complain, I have my kids all day. No, you can also complain. You can also have something negative about it. It's not that you don't love your kids or you don't love being a mom. If you need time for yourself and to recognize yourself again, you should take time to fill your cup.
Without feeling guilty about it.
Yes, which is a hard task, but
Yeah.
try as hard as you can and ask for help, delegate, and make some time for mental health and for your social life too.
I'm going to share another quote from your posts because this one made me cry, and I'm going to try not to cry here. But I think it speaks to what you just talked about. And it's you need the how is everyone doing check-ins. You need the laughs. You need the love. You need the I get it conversations, right? We were talking about talking to moms who are in it, and you need the moms. And I think that power of connection with women who are going through the same thing as you is so important in any stage of motherhood, right? Whether it's your baby was just born, your baby's going away to college,
Yeah.
you need all the people who could be asking those questions. You need that village of
Yeah.
women.
Yeah. You need people who ask you, how are you? And not just because they saw you on the street and then it's just an automatic, how are you? Good. How about you? You want people that want to listen to how you're really feeling because they will normalize the parts that are hard. They will celebrate you, the wins, the small wins. Like I was able to take a shower by myself without bringing the baby to the bathroom with me,
Yeah.
without being worried about if the baby's crying or not, and not feeling guilty. A friend and a person that brings you a warm food, that sets up a meal train, like I said, to hold your baby while you shower, or that they can just get what you're feeling. It's really great communicating with your partner about it, but having someone that has had that experience, and especially it's in it right now with you, I think that's the greatest thing to have. Have a person that is going through the same as you, as part of your village, and that's so important. And it feels so good to have someone to listen to you.
Yeah.
It's the
People who go beyond the, how are you doing? I'm okay. They go, are you though?
Yeah. Like, what's going on? You can open up. Yeah.
Cool.
That person that really cares and about how you're feeling, not is just not doing that social contract of, you know, I talk, you talk. It's really important. And even so, people think when you have, oh, a village is like so many people. No, even two, three people. But then you think,
That's a good point.
people that are close to you, they're your village, yes. But think about your providers, your lactation consultant, your pelvic floor physical therapist, your chiropractor, the person that like you get information about, your therapist, the person that you get your essential oils from, your neighbor. A lot of people, your childcare provider, someone that helps you with your children, those can be your village. Don't think that they are not part of your village, that your village has to be friends. They don't have to be friends or family. They can be people that are helping you through this phase. And that includes providers, that includes people that care for your physical, mental health.
I'll say too, and we talked about this before, but don't believe all the things you see on social media too, because if someone has a perfect life, they're lying. Everybody struggles and everybody has very similar feelings at some point in that journey. And I think that's the beauty of human connection, is look beyond those posts and the perfect pictures and the smiles, and just reach out. And also don't hold yourself to those standards, because that is, I love the post where it's like, what, Instagram versus reality, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's so different because you pick the best, even when you're posting a photo of yourself or you with friends, you want to make sure everyone's looking good. I mean, one friend is not looking good, you don't want to post that photo. And that goes for everything.
Yeah. What's to be an analogy in life, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, you don't want to, you're, a lot of people don't want to look vulnerable, especially on social media. So yeah, don't hold yourself to those standards because you're gonna get yourself in trouble.
So for listeners who are interested, what type of programs do you have for Nest and Nurture? Where are you located?
Sure. So we offer holistic support circles, and we call them the nesting circle for pregnant mamas and the nurtured mamas for the postpartum moms. And I've been offering workshops and the circles weekly. The weekly session will officially start July 9th, often here in Sarasota in person, but also virtually. So even if you are not here in Sarasota, Florida, I will offer the virtual sessions as well. And you can still share, even though they're not going to be part of your village, local village, but those moms can be part of your village somehow. Like I said, it doesn't have to be like we always think it's people that are close to you, that there are endless options to have someone be part of your village. And so those we're meeting weekly and we talk about lots of things. So it's the focus of it is connection, support. So just if you want to vent, you vent. If you want to give advice and the person is open to it, go for it. We'll talk about we talk about real stuff during those sessions. Identity shifts, like we were talking about it earlier, healing, relationships, rage, joy, anything from magical to messy in the early motherhood stages. I also will start offering monthly gatherings locally here in Sarasota, Florida, and guest speakers will be talking. So I will bring lactation consultants, birth and postpartum doulas, yoga instructors. So we're going to try to do a fun gathering every month, like incorporating beach walks, park walks, flower meditation, sound baths, somatic yoga, dancing. So I want to help them build their village. So I'm going to introduce them to other professionals that can be part of their village, because some people will not be aware there is a postpartum doula that can help locally, that can go to your house and make meals for you or help with like anything around the house during your postpartum. If you don't have family around or you're not comfortable with someone from your family.
They're called a postpartum doula.
Postpartum doula, yeah. So specifically, yeah. So some doulas choose to just be prenatal and birth doulas, and they do usually on their packages, they do 1 or 2 visits postpartum, but the postpartum doula is specifically trained for helping you during postpartum. So recognizing the signs of postpartum depression, anxiety, and help you with that, like refer you to someone, other professionals. They specialize in like making meals for you and all the little things like washing bottles, making sure that the baby is content while you're showering or while you're.
We'll have all the tips and the tricks too, because they do it all the time. That is such a great resource.
Yeah, so that was a big one. I wish I had a postpartum doula. I did have my postpartum doula, my mom. Okay. So both pregnancies. So I had someone to like really care for me and my babies. But it would be great to hire someone if I didn't have that help from my mom. And I know a lot of moms, especially here in Florida with everyone moving, families are not always around or able to be here for an extended period to help you. And so I always talk about the postpartum doula because I think it's an amazing thing.
Right. So what's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
Yeah, sure. So you can follow our Instagram account, Nest and Nurture Support. So it's at Nest and Nurture Support. And if you're expecting a baby or the baby's already here or older, like Diana was saying, that when they're older, but you still need connection, you still need your community, you're welcome to join us. And if you're in person in Sarasota or virtual, we're going to have virtual sessions as well. And I'm pretty excited for what's to come.
Yeah, very excited for you. Do you have any last words for the listeners? Any pieces of advice that we haven't covered?
Just like I feel like it's summarizing what I've been saying, that you matter to. And if you just had a baby or you're pregnant or you have a toddler, you still have to make time for yourself. You are important. Your rest, your healing, your joy, and how you feel, it's very important. You don't have to do it all alone. You were never meant to do it alone. And give yourself some grace and permission to slow down, ask for help, and to be cared for, because it's really important to think about yourself. You deserve it.
Beautiful words. So, all right, mamas. So as we wrap up today's episode, let's take a moment just to reflect. We talked about why planning for your own care, not just the baby's, is one of the most empowering things you can do as a mother. Mila reminded us that support, nutrition, community, and honest conversations aren't luxuries, they're lifelines. And most importantly, we are reminded that caring for ourselves isn't selfish, like she just said. It's essential. So on behalf of all of us mamas, thank you so much for all the work you're doing. Thank you for being the gentle, powerful reminder so many of us didn't know we needed, and that we matter too. That our healing, our rest, our emotional well-being are not just details to be brushed aside, but sacred parts of our motherhood. And in a world where we're often told to just keep pushing for everything, to be everything for everyone, and to smile through the overwhelm, your voice saying pause and breathe, you deserve care too, is something every single one of us needs to hear. So thank you for creating that space today, where women feel seen and feel heard and hopefully feel just a little bit more human. What you're building through Nest and Nurture is really, it's so inspiring. I now want to create a Nest and Nurture here. It makes such a
We should just branch it out. I want to thank you so much, not only for having me today and talk about it, but for creating this podcast. I think I am obsessed with all the episodes so far. I can't wait for them to come every Wednesday. You're giving women a voice. You're advocating for our health and wellness. And I think it's so important. Thank you for doing that.
Well, thank you. You're making me tear up. I really appreciate that. But I cannot wait to see what's ahead for you and for all the mothers that you're going to continue to lift up. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate the space and time today.
I appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Women's Wellness Authority. If today's conversation inspired you, shifted your perspective, or sparked something within you, I'd be so grateful if you'd subscribe, leave a review, or share this episode with someone who might need it the most. Have a story of your own or something you'd like to share? I'd love to hear from you. You can connect with me on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook at Women's Wellness Authority. Please note the content shared on this podcast is for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always consult with a qualified healthcare provider regarding your health and wellness decisions. Until next time, stay curious, stay empowered, and most of all, stay well. Thanks, everyone.